Thank you everyone for joining today. Ram Ram. Firstly, I just want to say a big thank you to Jalaram Mandir in Greenford for hosting with us this event and for kindly offering all of the donations to helping everybody who's suffering in India at the moment. And also to Sri Sanatan Mandir Luton for kindly joining. Also want to say a big thank you to everybody that was singing today and offering really, I can't call it just singing, but giving their hearts to people. Jaya Deva, who I met with Krishna Das probably 11 years ago in Rishikesh in the hills. Sai Priya, Tim Chalisa, Nina Rao, Ram Das, Shivani Mata, Jama Chapin, and of course Krishna Das. I've got what was planned a few weeks ago to be something of a kind of celebratory Hanuman Chalisa became something of an urgent appeal Chalisa for what's been happening in India over this last week, really. And a big thank you to everybody who's kindly supported. In the last 3 days together, you have managed to raise £55,000, which is providing absolute life supply to some people. It is a drop in the ocean, really, of what we're facing in India compared to that. But as we've always maintained from the beginning, that even just helping one person or even just feeding some people is amazing. So it is in that spirit that I want to introduce you both. I've got Krishna Das and Dr. Nicholas Sutton. Nick, as he prefers to be called. Can you both unmute? Are you able to? I've been trying to introduce you both for 10 years.
We're hard to get. We're playing hard to get.
Playing hard to get, correct. And it's been 10 years since, probably 12 years since there was my life before Hanuman Chalisa and then after. And then everything else, whether it's Go Dharmic or understanding of Hanuman Chalisa or books or anything else, it's all just listening to Krishna Das's Hanuman Chalisa. And after that, everything else has been a different journey. And no matter how much I try to run to the back of the train, it's always just going in one direction. So I can't stop that train and the direction that it wants to go. But I've always wanted to introduce you both. Today we've put together a book with Krishna Das has kindly written a foreword for called Moving Mountains. And it's a guide to the Hanuman Chalisa for anybody that wants to understand that text. But really, I don't know, for me, it's just, it's a grace that Maharaji has been creating since the beginning. For me, it's just been pulling all the strings of everything that I've been doing. So Krishna Das, I'd love for you to, please, KD Bhai, I prefer to call you, say something. What is this all about? What is Go Dharmic about? Because I have no clue. I'm just following the lead.
Ram. Maharaji always said sub-ek, sub-ek, all one. So anything that breaks down the barriers of the delusion of being separate beings is good work, is good seva. And we, in the old days, we asked him, how do we find God? He said, serve people. What? Yeah, what is that? Serve people? What are you talking about? What about, meditation, pranayama, all that stuff? So we said, well, Baba, how do you raise kundalini? He said, feed people. Basically, he never encouraged us to do anything that was motivated by our self-centered desire to be to do sadhana for our own sake. He encouraged us not to think about ourselves at all and to serve others. And in so doing, we break we begin to break some of those habitual tendencies to be everything to be self-referential. You know, we stop thinking about ourselves as the center of the universe, and we start to see that we're all one being, and all we have to do is remove the delusion, the temporary delusion of separateness. And of course, Hanumanji was not deluded by that at all. He had full awareness of the omnipresence of Ram everywhere. And he also knew Ram as the doer of all actions. So when we serve others, it's not our ego that's serving. Actually, that action is motivated by God itself, herself, himself. And in so doing, our own egos are thinned out. So we used to, one time after like a 10-day yag to the goddess in Navratri, so Mr. Tiwari, his great disciple, was doing the arti at the end, and Tiwari would get very, very, into it. And he kept going on and on and on. And Maharaji looked over there, looked in the back and said, these idiots, they're pretending to feed the gods and we're starving here? So everyone is God. That's what he saw all the time. This is, right from your own family to the whole world. Everything had to be seen as God, and actually seen that way, not just trying to talk yourself into it, but actually having that experience. And that's where he's taking us all. Slowly, but surely.
I think you're probably, Nick, around India at a similar time as KD, but you're probably maybe cross paths somewhere in the 60s as you're rolling. I guess, Nick, you once told me that Be Here Now was one of the first books that you picked up in the UK as you went to India. Could you tell me a little bit about that? And also, you mentioned something about a similar thing to what KD just mentioned about feeding, like when you were in India and you were part of a spiritual tradition or a religious tradition, you wanted to feed people, but you was almost sometimes, urged not to because they might be considered karmis or, something like that. Maybe something around that kind of your emotions regarding that.
Well, I went to India, it was in the early 70s. I went to India overland, and I don't really know what I was looking for there. But when I got there, I was wondering why on earth we had come here. I wasn't into the scene in Goa, and we just wandered around looking in amazement and bewilderment at everything that was going on. I got a diary from there, and it's just a young lad, 19 years old, wandering around confused and a long way from home with no money in his pocket, not knowing what he was doing there or what he was going to do. But I just found one quotation, and it just said, when I get home, I'll get a job and give all my money away to feed these people. And I read that and I thought, then I hope in my life I've never betrayed that young person. Because in a sense, although he's young, naive, stupid and lost, in a sense, I look upon him as my guru. And I only hope I can live up in some way to his aspirations for life. You get kind of middle-aged and stodgy, don't you? And your ideals seem to melt away, I think. But I just hope that that same idea is there. Very taken with what Krishna Das was said. And it's funny, he quoted there that passage from the book you gave me, which was exactly the passage that struck me as well, about how do I find God, serve people? How do I awaken the Kundalini, feed people? A very profound message, because there's so much spirituality out there in the world being traded and bartered and sold and offered. But to me, spirituality has always been the transformation of consciousness, like Krishna Das was saying, away from self-centeredness, what's in it for me, to a kind of universalism. And what you're talking about here, feeding so many people, is really the overt manifestation of the transformation of consciousness. That is the essence of all spirituality, of Indian spirituality. So when Maharajji said that, Krishnadas was smiling when he said that, but because it sounds almost so bland, compared to what we're looking for, something deep and mystical and esoteric and exotic. But it's that really simple message: change your state of consciousness so that you're no longer thinking of self, but to a state of mind which is universally benign. In Tamil Nadu, they talk of Shiva Rupa. Shiva, deity, is universally benign, nothing but pure love. And all of us are Shiva Rupa in our purest state. And when we get back to that pure state, then we become as universally benign as Shiva himself. And that's what Go Dharmic is about. It's about putting aside selfish thoughts, looking at the world with that look of love, and spreading that love, not just in an airy-fairy sort of way that we used to perhaps talk about in the 60s, but real love, which means feeling the distress of others as our own distress. And just as if we're in distress, we take measures to remedy it. So when we see others in distress, we must take measures to remedy their distress as well. And that's why I really was taken with that quotation from the book. And it's quite striking that Krishna Das should pick up on exactly that same quote that stood out in my mind as well. I've cited it many times since then when I've been writing or speaking. But anyway.
Yeah, and I think it's central to what we've tried to do with Go Dharmic as well. We've tried to make it so that any person from any tradition can come in and serve, but from the place of a heart, because it's very easy to get adrenaline, or you want to serve and you're going there and you're doing this and you're a hero. But actually, how can you bring it back to the heart, and how can you? I always think of Ram Dass. It literally brings me to tears to remember him, and that state that he operated in, radiating love. And we were talking about the verses in the Hanuman Chalisa, KDY, you mentioned as well, when you had a look at some of the verses about radiating energy and radiating love, like Maharaji did, or as Ram Dass also embodied. What is that radiation of love? How can we serve from that place?
Well, if we're going to radiate love, we have to remove hate from our own consciousness, and judgments, and grief, and shame, and fear, and self-centeredness, and violence, and anger. We have to uncover what's within us. And everybody has a different take on how you're going to do that, but that's what has to be done. You don't create that. It's already been created a long time ago. It's in everybody. It's looking out of everybody's eyes every minute of every day. So the thing is to uncover that place, and then it just naturally radiates. It's radiating all the time, but nobody's got their radios tuned to the right channel. So because we have all these other channels of selfish interests. And it's very human, it's not a judgmental thing. It's just human beings trying to figure out the best way to live. And Most people just think, okay, this is like one and done. One life, I'm out of here. I don't care if I don't, what does it matter what I do? I'll be dead, it doesn't matter. So that's a problem, unfortunately, because the seeds we plant right now are what's going to be growing in our eternal life stream. And we're going to have to deal with those things sooner or later. So it's better to deal with them while you have some awareness of it. So.
And at this time, when there's so much suffering, especially I must have seen in India, we've all seen horrific scenes where, like, one of my friends in India texted me, and he said, I feel like I'm in a war zone, or what you imagined Syria to be like in during the time of attack, where ambulances are queuing for miles and trying to get into hospitals. There's no oxygen, and people are desperate. Like we're getting calls from CEOs of top companies in the US who are desperately scrambling for oxygen for some of their relatives or loved ones in India, or even themselves. And it just shows that, no matter how much money you have or what wealth you've accumulated, or, what station you are, everybody is the same now. There's no oxygen. And if you get a virus in that state, and obviously we're requesting everybody to kind of remain calm and to remain there. But when it becomes in that situation, I almost feel that, as well as doing everything we can physically to deliver those necessary things like oxygen cylinders and the work we're doing, but also the radiance and the energy of something like this 108 Hanuman Chalisas has a tremendous power and energy that I can't explain. It fills us with energy to work, as Hanuman said, endlessly. Like, the things he does is so incredible. Even when I read it, I don't believe it, but I just know he can do it. What does Hanuman mean? Who is Hanuman, Katie? Perhaps you could share something on who Hanuman is.
Sorry, my sound isn't very good. Say who Hanuman is.
Yeah. Perhaps you could both share something.
Hanuman is different things for different people. As we've heard, just with all the chanting in the mandir, Hanuman's the object of intense devotion for many, many millions of people. For me, Hanuman is the perfect example of an empowered individual who uses that empowerment for the benefit and the good of all. Whatever resources Hanuman has, and he has vast resources, but he never indulges them for himself. He's always looking to use whatever gifts he has for the service of all other living beings. And so, in a sense, all of us are tiny Hanumans. We all have a certain amount of strength, resources, money even. And although we can't move the mountain as Hanuman did, we can all move little mountains, a little bit, we can't change the world, as you were saying before, Hemel, but I always think each person is a universe in their own right, and they move in their own universe with their own personal deity with them. And if you can change the life of one person, you have, in a perhaps microcosmic sense, you have changed the whole world. So for me, Hanuman is the perfect example of what you can do if you have great strength, great resources, or just even a little bit of energy, etc. Just dedicate them to the service of the whole world. Don't think, what can I get for myself now? Just what can I do for the rest of the world? But I think every person will have their own individual understanding of Hanuman and relate to Hanuman in a particular way. That's what I think.
Yeah, I agree very much. The other thing is that Hanuman serves Ram, not people. Ram is the indwelling presence in everyone. So he's not serving egos. He's serving Ram and what's best for that place in each person. So it's interesting. You know, there were times when, like Maharaj used to say, "Theek ho jayega," if somebody was going to live or somebody was going to die. "Theek ho jayega." It's like, for him, it's the same, because he's serving the soul and what had to be right for the soul. So, and the only way you would ever know what that is when you become Hanuman. So all we can do is the best we can do according to our dim lights, you know, and our very dim understanding of things. We see the world the way we see it, so we do our best to deal with suffering, our own and others. When Maharaj used to ask us, he used to tease us, he said, "Okay, so who's Hanuman?" You know, and we give all the book answers, you know, the perfect servant, the servant of Ram. And he would just close it, he would say, "Ram ke swas," the breath of Ram. That's the bottom line. The breath, without breath, there's no life. So Hanuman is actually the life, the pran of Ram, expressed. And it's like a flow of grace that's always flowing. And we have to enter into that flow. And when you do, you're escorted into the deeper place within. So it's a combination. You know, we do the best we can. We try to plant the best seeds we can and serve others. But remember, Hanumanji's not serving others, because for him there is no others. There's only Ram. That's all he sees. Of course, he can stop on the red and go on the green, but he sees Ram everywhere. When he jumps over, you know, there's that beautiful bhajan by Tulsidas. Kapise uren hamane. I can never repay the debt I owe to this monkey. This is Ram explaining to Bharat who this monkey is who's hanging around. He said, "Oh, brother Bharat, you know, they say if you see a monkey in the morning, you can't even eat, you have to go wash and everything." He said, "But even so, I can never repay the debt I owe to this monkey." And then he jumped over the ocean, he killed the Rakshasas, he did this, and not once did pride arise in his mind. Did he ever think of himself as the doer? And then the last verse, one of the last verses said, "My whole Leela in this world would have been lost if it wasn't for Hanuman." And the last verse, Tulsidas writes, "I'm telling you what the praise of Hanuman in the very words that came from the Lord's mouth." So he's actually the breath of Ram. He's the pran. He's what Hanuman, Rabbi Svoboda always talks about Hanumanji being the pran in the body, even.
Right.
So, but we don't know that. We read the books, we hear the words, but we have to experience it. That's the thing. And Maharaji said the best way to do that is to serve people. Love everyone, serve everyone, remember God.
Read people. And I think Nick has always kind of said that the example of a person, of whether they're, you know, spiritual, is not how many mantras they can chant or where they active, or that of how much they love others and how they serve people in the world, and to what extent. And the way that Maharaji fed people is everything that we're doing today is, you know, with these big banners that are out saying love or feed or serve, and with homeless feeding or any service that we're trying to do, even with this oxygen seva, is just that prasad that came from that location. And for me personally, you're both some of the most influential people on my life that I've ever met, and you've had such an impact, but from very different places. Nick, you know, you've studied the Mahabharata extensively, and God knows what else you do apart from read Shastra. But I think when I ask you, and I asked Krishna Das back in Rishikesh probably 11 years ago, the same question, I said, what's it all about? What is the path? And you both come to a very similar conclusion in love the people. You both said something very simple and very, very similar in that you just love people around you. Be kind to your people who are close to you, and express that. And I found that very interesting. And I think that essence is Hanumanji's essence, and what we've tried to convey in this book, Moving Mountains Together. But what is it? What is that essence of, you know, what you've learned from, probably Nick, just quickly, from Shastra, and then AD from Maharaji? It would be good because there's a connecting point here of what all the work that Godharmic is doing.
I mean, I forget who it was now was saying that. I think I was reading in one of the Puranas saying who is the guru, and he gives a whole list of creatures and people he's seen in the world, that they're all my gurus. And I would say that something. Sorry,
the Tatreya.
Is it Dattatreya who says that? Yeah, and I would follow that. I've been around spiritual ideas, spiritual movements for 50 years now, and observing them and watching and thinking. And it's just the obvious conclusion that strikes you, that it's that purity of love. In the Mahabharata, there's a nice passage I remember when Markandeya Rishi enters the arena with the Pandavas and Bhishma, and it said he had of him the Punya Ganda, which was the aroma of Punya that he emits, and the aroma of purity. And I think that's what it is. You can feel it in people, and it's not about the number of mantras or how often they go to the temple or the rituals or the fancy clothes outfits they wear. It's that utterly benign attitude towards everybody, which is the Shiva Rupa, which is the way that Shiva is utterly benign to all of us. They are, in a sense, achieving that oneness there. So I know, Krishna Das will come to the same conclusion, but I think it's the only conclusion one can genuinely arrive at. I was reading, someone was saying today about yoga teachers who are competitive and fall out with each other. And what's the point of doing yoga for all the years if you're not going to do that? The simplest of things, which is feed people, serve people. That's all. It's a simple thing, but it's so profound, isn't it? Because that's the Punya Ganda, the aroma of Punya there. That's what I think anyway.
Yeah. It's not just the yoga teachers. The Swamis fight with each other. The Shaivites fight with the Vaishnavas. And, and there's different groups of Vaishnavas fight with each other. It's such bullshit. It's hard to believe, But that's the world now. Kali Yuga. It's like a big delusional dream.
So hard. It reminds me of there's Akka Mahadevi, the female saint in Karnataka, who ran away from her family and her husband, and they were after her all the time, calling her back, and she slipped away and got to Mallikarjuna, where she took Shiva as her husband. But I read that story, I take it also metaphorically in a sense, because as we're trying to get away from our conventional mode of living, we have all those things calling us back. Am I being respected? Do people admire me? They're like the voices of those relatives who are trying to pull Mahadevi back. They're trying to pull us back and make us feel the same way as well. It's such an important point you made, Krishna Das, about not seeing ourselves as anything special, anything at all. And Hanuman teaches that, compared to Hanuman, who is special among us.
That comes from grace. Ramana Maharshi always said that to ask the ego or the mind to kill the mind is like asking the thief to be the policeman. There'll be a lot of investigation, but no arrest will ever be made. It's only, Maharaji used to say, purify the heart and wait for grace. It's only grace is that we're asleep and we didn't set an alarm, so we're just asleep, and we're going to be asleep until somebody wakes us up. But while we're asleep, we still have to become good human beings. We have to overcome our stuff and clean the mirror of our hearts, like it says in the Hanuman Chalisa. The first thing, take the pollen like dust from the lotus feet of the Guru. Nisargadatta Maharaj says that the Charanamrit is consciousness, is awareness. So that dust that cleans the mirror of the heart is pure awareness, is being. It cleans off the mirror. If we're looking at a dirty mirror, we see a distorted reflection. And when the dust is clean, then we see things as they are. We see ourselves as we are. So it's only that grace. The one time, Maharaj said, "Why do you touch my feet?" And my Guru Bhai Balaram said, "It's the lowest place on your body, but it's higher than we'll ever get."
And what about, we have to hand back over to Jalaram Mandir soon, who's going to be finalizing the pujas, and we'll be signing off.
I'll feed my children, Hemel. I've nearly burnt the rice. I was just nipping out to make sure the rice didn't burn for them.
Good. Me too. I heard my daughter screaming downstairs a minute ago, and we'll be winding up.
She's fine.
The whole idea of service, compassion in action, as you know, Ramdas, we use that tag a lot. We steal everything that Ramdas said and don't ask for any kind of copyright or anything. We just plaster it all over the dharmic work, and people who have never met or come into touch with Ramdas will be handing out flyers, compassion in action, and want that thing. But I think when I see people like Larry Brilliant, who served in the world in terms of, providing the medical support, or, delivering that prasad, being a spoon for that service. Just as a final part, I think Hanuman, from my understanding and my little understanding, was a spoon for Ram's work, or a bowl for that prasad to be distributed. And I just want to finish on that note that, if we are to move mountains, like everybody wants to do something in their life, everybody's inspired to kind of do something, but they do it for the other reason, right? They do it for Ram. But so what is that like, Katie, from your personal perspective, whether it was, getting known as a singer initially, if you were, in the rock business, or, in that, and now you're chanting in front of millions of people and singing Sri Ram, Jai Ram, but you don't seem to care. How can we serve from that place?
In my case, I just sing. And I'm singing because Maharaji pulled the particular string and make sound come out of my mouth. If I take it personally, that's my problem, but that's not his problem. And it's an interesting thing. On one hand, ultimate reality is always here. It's a sky that doesn't change. The space doesn't change whether clouds are in it or not. We may identify with the clouds temporarily, but the space never changes. So even if I think I'm doing it sometimes, I'm not. Even when I'm stupid and think that I'm chanting, I'm not. It's happening because of Maharaji's icha. This is what he wanted for this kind of seva to happen. So this is happening. If I identify with it, that's my work.
Ramdas said that Krishna Das sings to Maharaji. Like I always, when people used to ask him, what is Krishna Das doing? He's chanting to all these people. He's like, no. Krishna Das sings to Maharaji. It always stays inside my mind that Ramdas, his words so powerfully describe that, and there's nothing else in my thing. And if we can, feed in that. Nick, just as a final thought from you, we've got this Moving Mountains, which is about Hanuman Chalisa. What would you like to share about that with everybody? And then we're getting poked in the back to start the pujas. So
going through it again recently, even today, I was reading through it again, and what strikes me is I think there's a nice balance between your writing in it, which is much more effusive, much more devotional, and completely from the heart when you're writing. Whereas I'm looking at it and trying to learn the lessons from it and expressing it in a far more, I hate to use the word, but rational and manner, and see what it means and how it can be interpreted. And I think the balance works very well there. I mean, I love reading your contributions because it's all from the heart, coming in clear, pure bhakti. Whereas what I'm trying to do is work out people who perhaps don't share that same devotion can still learn great lessons from the Hanuman Chalisa. So I think it works very well between the two, as we found before when we worked on books, that kind of balance different perspectives that come through. I hope so anyway. I hope people will like it.
It's true. People need, they may feel the devotional stuff, but it doesn't last. Their normal emotions take over. The normal deluded habits, etc., take over thinking of mind, and they lose that devotional place. They lose contact with it. So the more they can understand about the whole situation and what it really means and where it's coming from and how it can change you and what's necessary, and that increases. I mean, this is why you need both, especially for Westerners.
Well, we wanted to express both sides, so people have a choice and people have a direction of how they interpret it and understand it for themselves, rather than being told that this is the way. You just figure out your own ideas based on the resources